Alright. I'm going to try and be as fair as possible in today's video. I've just finished work. It is Wednesday. It is day 73 in total, clean and sober. It's been a massive few weeks, and this next week is going to be even bigger. I'm starting a new job on Monday, but I'm genuinely excited to start that job. And I'm genuinely depressed being at the current job that I've got. This week is over half done. Thank the Lord. I don't know how I've gotten through this week. I feel like last week was okay. This week, being my last one, has just dragged. It has been the longest 3 days of work in my entire life. It has been the most depressing 3 days of work in my entire life. I can hardly stand it. I can hardly stand being in that office any longer. And if I didn't have a job to start on Monday, I would quit. I would quit. This week would be my final week, whether I had another job to go to or not. I am in a state of insanity, of quiet desperation. Sitting in that office, my mood has gone from here to here to here to just scraping the bottom of the barrel. I despise working there. And it's not to do with the people. It's the job. It's my brain. It's me. I am not made to work in an office any longer. This will be, indeed, my final office-based job. I will never do it again. I will never, ever, ever do it again. And I've worked in some offices. I've probably worked in 10 to 12 different offices over the years. And some roles I last a year, some roles I last 6 months, some roles I last 3 months. In this case, I will have lasted 11 weeks. And this last 3 days has just ruined me. Now tomorrow I'll probably feel just a little bit better because it's my second to last day. And on Friday, I'm going to go in there with the attitude of just trying to enjoy it as much as I possibly can. But I fucking hate the job. I hate it. It's ruining me. It is so depressing, it's not even funny. And that's nothing against the workplace, it's nothing against the people. It's my own fault for getting myself so wound up about this. But with all of that being said, I just want you guys to know that I've got 2 days to go. I'm super excited. And none of this is all emotion. This is straight up real human emotion. And I'm having to face it and deal with it without leaning on alcohol or drugs. And so, I continue to recite the Serenity prayer as I have done many, many times in the past and many times recently. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. I mean, I could call in sick for the next 2 days, but I'm not going to. Accept the fact I'm working there. Accept the fact that is how I earn my money at this point. The courage to change the things I can, which I did. I went out and got myself a new job. It was a process. I had to apply. I had to wait. I had to interview. I had to accept the offer. Now I have, and I'm starting on Monday. And the wisdom to know the difference between the two, which I do. I've just spelled it out for you guys, and I've spelled it out to myself. That's the benefit of these videos. I can get things out of my head and move on. Hey, it could be worse. And hey, these last 11 weeks have been a journey. They've been a real journey, guys. I went from being super grateful, super glad to have the job during week 1 and 2, learning as best I could, realizing that, it's going to be a learning curve. It's going to be, it's a new environment, new people, whatever. It's exciting for the first couple of weeks, doesn't matter what job you've got. And then on day 19, I realized it wasn't for me. And that was in week number 3. And then by day 38, I realized, well, maybe that's my attitude. And I hadn't got a different job yet. I'd been applying, and I got knocked back from a couple, and I thought, oh, okay, maybe it's not going to happen. Maybe it's not going to be as easy as I thought to get another job. And so I had to resign myself to the fact that, okay, I might have to stick this out. I might have to be here for months, and certainly a lot longer than what I'd hoped. So I turned my attitude around. And I said to myself, make the best of it. And I went in there with a newfound, I just went in there and I thought, if you have to stay here, you have to keep money coming in. It is what it is. So it's going to be up to you to determine what attitude you choose to take through those front doors. And I tried, and I tried, and I tried. And I realized to have to try and fake things, to have to try that hard to enjoy a job, when deep down you know that that's probably never going to happen, all it leads you to do is fake laugh, fake smile. Everything's faked. I don't know if I'm the only one that does it, but it is, and that's the truth. And I'm making this video to convince myself that working in an office is simply not for me anymore. Yes, I'm computer literate. Yes, I know my way around a spreadsheet. I can learn new softwares relatively quickly. But at the end of the day, it's fucking boring. It's wasting my life. It's completely sedentary. I'm 34, soon to be 35. I need to be active. I need my days to be varied. And there are jobs out there that offer that, including the one I'm about to start. No, the money's not quite as good, but the money I'm on now isn't anything special anyway. So I'm making the right decision. And I cannot wait to walk out of there on Friday afternoon, say goodbye to everyone, wish them on their merry way, wish them all the best, and just hope deep down that they're not feeling as desperate and as depressed as I am, to be honest, because I know there's at least one person in there that's like that. I can feel it. I can feel it. But I can't talk about it, or I don't want to talk about it, because that's just being straight up, honest. And that's something you can't really do in an office. Everyone can hear what you're saying. You can't be completely honest, because if I was, I'd walk in there and I'd immediately say how much I fucking hated being there. But you can't do that. You got to play the game. You got to play the office politics. And in this office, to be honest, there are very little office politics, or at least I don't know of them. But just the sedentary nature, the staring at a screen, the making yourself look busy, because at the end of the day, there isn't enough work to fill in my day. And I think that's where I really struggle. And because there's people walking around behind me, in front of me all the time, co-workers, management, I'm constantly feeling as if I need to look busy. And I tell you what, having to look busy all day rather than actually be busy is actually even harder and more depressing. So anyway, that's enough emotion from me. I've got to tone it down a bit. I'm actually on my way to a house viewing. Now, some of you will know I have moved in to a house. I'm sharing a house. I've got a bedroom. It's really nice house. The people I live with are drinkers, which concerned me at first, but I've been there 2.5 weeks now, almost 3, and it's, I'm feeling pretty confident. I've been offered a drink. I see alcohol in the fridge every day, and I'm not tempted. So that's not an issue, but I still do want my own space. So I've got a budget of $350 a week. This place I'm going to go look at right now is $340. It falls within my budget. We've got internet on top of that, which would cost me at least $20 to $25 a week, which would be $365. Plus power would bring me up to something like $400, and that is my total max budget as far as my weekly expenses, housing expenses. So between rent, power and internet. I've got $400 to spend. I'm paying $250 at the moment for my own space and for a spare bedroom. Doesn't matter what it looks like outside, as long as it's painted on the inside, as long as I've got a decent bathroom, and as long as there's no holes in the wall or anything like that, I'm going to be relatively happy. I don't need much. I just really want my own space, and I really want a second bedroom to have my kids over. That's going to be super important to me, and then that will be more change, of course, but good change. Change is good, and change is exciting. It keeps life moving. It keeps life exciting. And if I was to secure this place, it looks suitable from the advert that I saw. If I go and view it tonight, I like it. I can see myself moving in. I can see the kids being comfortable there. It's in a decent enough area. It's with proximity to my new job, which is another factor. The place that I'm living at the moment is you couldn't be further away from my new workplace, unfortunately. So that's a factor, although it's not gonna, it was never gonna stop me from taking this job, but I wouldn't mind a place just a little closer. And obviously, like I said, I wouldn't mind my own place. And so, by the end of the week, I could well have secured my own place, which is exciting. And also, I've got to do it now or never, to be honest. If I don't get something sorted by, mid to late next week, then I won't be able to use my current employment as evidence of income. And that is a concern. So whilst I'm still employed, whilst I've been at this employer for almost 3 months, I want to utilize that to my advantage, and I want to try and secure some accommodation, a lease. So that's the plan. There's a lot of moving parts still. I'm still not settled, but I'm happy. I'm excited for the future. I just got to focus on what I can change. Stop worrying about what I can't. And from somewhere, somehow, I get the wisdom to know the difference. But I will never, ever, ever work in a cubicle, work in an office environment, unless I can get out, of course, unless there's some variation to what I do day to day. But I cannot do the same thing day in, day out, staring at a computer screen any fucking longer. I wouldn't recommend it. It's ruined me. And I refuse to let a workplace do that. Anyway, I'll talk to you later on. We'll see how this place goes. Alright, just like that, job done. Inspection done. I've had a look. Look, it's $340. It's 2-bedroom. It's air conditioned, and it's got a park over the road. It's never, it was never going to be the flashiest, but I'm happy enough, and I would be more than happy to take that lease on. They're looking ideally for a 6-month lease, which is exactly what I wanted. They're doing that because they will be raising the rent at the end of that. So at the end of the year, they'll be raising the rent by whatever the market rate is. I think it's 5 or 10%. I don't know what the maximum is, but in Townsville at the moment, especially for properties, anything under $400 with 2-bedroom, they are going to be raising the rent as much as they can, as often as they can, and I believe they can do it once per year, and that is in 6 months' time. So I've had a look at it. I'm not going to be trapped by a 12-month lease. 6 months suits me. The place suits me. I don't have a lot of time to muck around, of course, because I'm about to change jobs, which is not ideal. So I've put the application in, and it's in God's hands. God, grant me serenity. to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Well, I've done all I can. I can't change anything now. What's done is done. If I get it, I get it. And I'm excited. If I don't get it, I don't get it. It is what it is. I'm more than willing to settle where I am. There are other places out there, but to be honest, as far as setting, as far as, there's a balcony looking out over the park, it's right by the river, it's off the ground, it's on the first level, so there's no flood threat. And so, let's see what happens, man. You got to be in it to win it. So, this afternoon, I'm going to go to the gym. My dad's in town, as you know. We're going to go over to see my daughters for dinner tomorrow night. So, I've got this evening off. I am going to head to the gym. I'm going to get a good workout in. Tick that box. Then I'll go home. I'll eat some dinner. I'll watch some TV. I'll surf the web, the interwebs, do some research, I like to call it, which normally ends up with just scrolling YouTube and watching countless videos, but it is what it is. I'm free to do with my time what I like, and as long as I stay sober, as long as I take it one day at a time, as long as I lay my head on that pillow tonight, clean and sober, my 73rd day, that is a good day. So I'm gonna make a video tomorrow, and I'll probably make one the next day because it would be my last day at my job, and then I'll probably make one on Saturday because I'll be feeling so good about it, and then I'll probably make one on Sunday because we'll be at 11 weeks sober, and then I'll probably make one on Monday to let you guys know how my first day at my new job went, and then I'll probably make one on Tuesday. And due to the fact that I'm releasing these every 2 days, that means that from now till Tuesday next week, I will have created almost 2 weeks worth of content. And that is how I roll. As a content creator, I don't know what type of content creator I am really, but as a creator, I enjoy having content in the bank ready to go that allows me to stick to a schedule, and I can't see my schedule at the moment being one video every 2 days stopping anytime soon. So all I can say is stay tuned, and let's continue to tell this latest story. 1 week finishes, another starts. One chapter closes, another opens. That is how my life is at the moment, and I wouldn't have it any other way. So thanks, and have a fantastic night.